This is an explicit podcast. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 54 of the Age of Sigmar podcast. I am Gary Hennessy and with me as always we have...
Andy Talbot.
Hello Andy, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, just preparing to get crushed by amount of baby clothes that's now in this room.
Yeah, it was clean for what, about a week?
Yeah, but I'd say up to maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, but yeah, now we've got lots of baby stuff in here. So yeah, it's taken over my stuff, which I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I can't say I'm at all happy about that. But...
Yeah, I think there's a fair split there, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, my stuff's just children's stuff anyway. So
there you go.
It's all good. Yes. How are you?
Yes, mate. I'm good. It's a lovely day outside, isn't it?
It is. So, perfect time to record.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly. Yeah. Might as well just sit inside, be nerds, and not go anywhere near the sun.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
We are kind of go near the sea.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, not up to an awful lot. I mean, I know we're still doing our bag of holding.
We certainly are, yeah.
Community leader stuff, and I had a game against store manager down there, Matt, recently. So I haven't had a game with my Stormcast in absolutely
I was going to say,
ages.
it's been a while since you've actually played.
Yeah. Been a long time. So yeah, it was good to crack them back out again. Matt was using Legions of Nagash, but he had Manfred leading his army and stuff like that. So it's the first 2K game I think he's had.
Yeah.
And we played Scorched Earth.
Yeah.
And I think he ended up taking it out in the end, but literally by 1 point because he managed to outnumber me on a couple of my objectives sneakily enough. So it was good. I very much nearly tabled him actually, but it was very good to bring it back and got me in the end actually. So that's interesting. So I'll be up for another game there to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you? What have you been up to?
Kind of same thing, really.
Yeah.
We're just getting ready for Blood Court, like the first event we are holding there. So I think the next few weeks is going to be furiously dry brushing terrain.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
to get all the boards ready. But yeah, apart from that, just doing a bit of working on a bit of the Idoneth stuff, which is a bit of obviously a surprise.
Shocker.
But, but yeah, it's kind of got how I'm doing the bases down now. I've got some custom bases made, so
looking cool.
Cheers. So yeah, I can fill them with like water effect and the ice that I was using for my Imperial Fists.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing, but on the Idoneth. And I've but adding to it. I've ordered the box of vines and the box of skulls.
Oh yeah,
from the GW boxes.
Yeah, like the bendy vines, the plastic ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of going to use the vines as almost like seaweed.
Yeah,
under the base, and then not under it. That'd be weird, but. At the bottom,
I know what you meant.
At the bottom of the base, and then like have the skulls, so they're kind of half submerged because it's it's quite floating. Yeah, it's quite hard to actually add like different things to it because it's kind of either water or the ice.
Yeah,
because the tufts kind of absorb a lot of the water effect, so they kind of go the same colour, so they're not adding that much.
I get you.
To the base, so hopefully having like the skulls with the vines interweaving round it kind of thing, and look a bit like as Ant in our group chat say, kind of like the marsh in Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, Dead Marshes.
The Dead Marshes. They're kind of the same thing. So that's it's quite obviously with the skulls you get loads of. You do get loads of different ones as well, so that'd be quite interesting.
Because in the battle tome, which we'll obviously go into a little bit more later on, it's got a load of the Eldar scenery from 40k.
Yes, yeah. So I think when I actually make terrain, I'll be using that, but I think it's probably going to be a bit too big to add. It might be all right for the Leviathan, actually. Yeah, that might be cool. I needed to order a box anyway. So
well, I didn't really know, just because of obviously we've got like the Azerite ruins that just come out, and you've used those on your like little bits that come out of that on your eels. Yeah. Maybe there was like small sections of it that you can break it up into to actually smaller bases.
Yeah, there definitely will be. What would be quite nice is actually to mix that with the with that Death World stuff, so maybe actually have him connected to the Death World stuff rather than the actual ruins, and have the ruins like scattered about kind of things. That's a good shout, actually. I'll try and pick some of that up. I'm pretty sure you can just order that separately now. You should, considering it isn't White Dwarf saying about using it for terrain. So I really hope you can. apart from that, I mean, it's quite nice not to have a deadline for them.
Yes, yeah.
It's like the kits are quite cool. The eels are I got so excited by them.
Amazing.
They're a really nice kit. It's there's hardly any mold lines on the eels.
Oh, that's
it's kind
great.
of one solid eel.
One solid eel.
And you just the mold line scraper is really handy to go round it, because like had a few issues with the thralls. Like they've got a decent amount of mold line around them,
actually,
and it's I think it would be all right if they didn't have kind of that intricate weaponry.
Yes.
So there's where they've kind of got like the jagged tooth stuff to a lot of the weaponry. I actually have to get a hobby knife out and try and
they do
some of
take
that.
a bit of cleaning up.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lovely kit.
Yes.
It just needs that little bit extra work. I think it's just like a surprise.
Yeah,
because so we've been blessed with so many kits that's kind of like done, and it's like, oh, I actually have to put some work into this. It quickly quashed my 90 thrall list. That's for sure. Yeah, that's fair. I was like, 30's fine. 30, yes. I'll deal with 30, and hopefully going to put some of the Reavers together soon.
Yeah, they look awesome.
Well.
I just love how dynamic all the
I think the Reavers might actually be one of the nicest kits.
Yes.
Like, just not in the range, I mean, nicest GW kits.
Yeah, no, definitely.
They're so cool, but I'll get to those at some point, but not having a deadline is nice.
No, definitely.
Probably will this army will take forever to do. Never mind.
Yeah, although we have set ourselves a few other deadlines and stuff, haven't we, now, starting a Firestorm campaign?
Yeah, so we're starting it's a good point, actually. So yeah, we've got we're setting up a Firestorm campaign at Bag of Holding for when we finish. It's basically after Blood Corp.
Yeah.
So we can start something there, and we've managed to fill it up really quickly, which is nice. Yeah. And there's also, if anyone's in like the Dorset area that wants to come down on a Thursday night, we've also started setting up like a big ladder league.
Yes.
There, so you feel free to pop in and have a game and get your name up on the board.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So just if you need any info on the night and that, just give us a shout on social media.
Yeah.
Actually, just go for Twitter or social media.
We will answer Facebook.
To be fair, we will.
It just might not be as quick.
No, it's all to do with my notification setup. It's much slower. Right, so I mean, Idoneth. It's a big book.
It is.
It's a big battle tome.
Lots of stuff in there, isn't there?
It is a big battle tome. But I mean, it's probably worth mentioning before we get into the book that we were obviously super privileged to go up and see them for like a little reveal video.
Yeah, really, really cool experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those where lots of points during like the filming we were just silent. This is probably really bad. But the finished article was cool to look back on. It was a lot of fun. But
the fact that we got to see the heavy metal models, pick up and actually, properly look at the heavy metal painted models.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. It's real. I remember one of the bits where I was like, my heart sunk was when I moved one of the kings.
Yes.
And basically his spear fell downwards.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, guys, no, it's fine. It's just pinned on. It's fine. It's just, and I'm like, oh, God. It's like, that was nothing to do. I was just looking at it. I didn't even touch it. And the hand fell down. And I was like, I didn't touch it. But it was a lot of fun to do, and I hope people enjoy the video.
Yes, I think you can tell our reaction to the whole model range by that video itself.
Also, a main reaction was how much people liked your t-shirt.
Yeah. It's quite massive Ghost Inside fans everywhere. Yeah,
it's an interesting Venn diagram of wargamers and
it is, isn't it?
Joys of said band.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made the mistake of looking at Facebook comments. My heart goes out more and more that how effective the community team is to replying to
yes, 100%.
I mean, I think they've lost any shits given now to hurting people's feelings. The last, I love it. You can just have a fine wine and read the replies. Whoever's doing it, fantastic job.
Keep it up.
It's really good. But okay, should we take a quick break and then jump into the book?
Yeah, sounds great.
Right, so as you may have gathered, this episode is very much about the Idoneth Deepkin.
And all of their lore, because there's so much of it already.
It's like, I tried to do the start of the notes, and then I was like, "Oh, this isn't going well." It's like 4 hours in. And it's so much stuff.
It is, and annoyingly, it is all really, really cool.
Oh,
so
it's
there
great,
might be some stuff that we're gonna like miss out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But believe us, it's not for want of trying.
No,
There's
it's
just
just
so much stuff in
I
there.
think if we went, it's kind of twofold. One, I think if we went through everything, then you guys kind of miss out on
Yes.
something. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We'll give you like the main points to draw from that
Yep.
we think it's what we think is really cool, which is a lot.
yeah.
And also it's kind of like it will be about an 8-hour episode, and that's what we're trying to avoid now.
Yes, for sure.
So we've kind of taken like the main details, which there's still a lot of.
There are a lot.
So a big probably is worth giving a spoiler warning.
Yeah. Anybody that actually does want to read this battle tome and stuff like that, we're going to go into pretty heavy spoilers. As of now, pretty much.
Yeah. So if you don't care, that's cool. Well, still listen. But
yeah. Don't everybody switch off.
Yeah,
That would be a terrible idea.
Yeah, as long as they download, it's fine. The numbers are there.
That's all we're here for.
So, gotta get those sweet download dollars.
Wow, yeah.
Cool. Right. So the start. I mean, it's probably worth shouting out as well, saying that I think this is one of the few like pure AOS armies that have been released. Like obviously you had Stormcast, which were brand new, and I really think where GW have done a great job of kind of revamping other armies.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they've gone above Flesh Eater Courts yet, because that
was amazing.
That was just ridiculously
That
good.
was
So that
awesome.
was really hard, like level to set yourself.
Yeah.
Everything's been very cool. Like we've said before, how we think probably like Seraphon came too soon.
Yeah.
But I think if they release that lore now, people would really like it.
Yeah.
But first, like, imaginary laser beasts are kind of...
Croak in space.
Yeah, well, not everything was right. But yeah, I think this is one of those real, like, this is an AOS army.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And, it just fits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And what I do like about it is kind of like reading some of this stuff, they've interwoven it so well with so many other events that are happening while still kind of keeping them separate. And, you'll see how, like secluded and reclusive these guys are, like when we actually go through it. But
fits really well with a race that suddenly appears in the game.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think their overlords were quite reclusive.
Yeah.
But, so kind of it starts... The lore kind of starts back in the world that was. So the old world. So obviously Archaon did his master plan, and the old world started to break up.
It did, yeah.
So kind of a long history of Slaanesh, like
hunting
elves.
Yeah.
They did create him, so it's going to happen. And it goes back to Mathlan, which is the old elven god of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of basically put his followers in like a little lockbox at the bottom of the ocean.
Yes, he did. Yeah, sure.
He pretty much did. He pretty much did. He was like, "It's all right. Like, screw everyone else. You guys followed me. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to put you down here under the bed and hide you as much as possible."
Don't make
the world began to break up like completely.
Yes.
So even it mentions that even like the seas were drained because of it. So the
world blew up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's not much of a sea left.
No. So let's go. Well, it's one of those. I think like a lot of the images is kind of like there was just a big detonation, but I think a lot of the beginning of this book kind of goes into the fact that it was a slower process than maybe. It started cracking and then breaking up. Yeah. So I reckon it's actually one of those proper like apocalyptic moments where actually it probably took like some time for the old world to actually be completely wiped out.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
So that's what this because it kind of gives you that like Slaanesh kind of roams about eating a load of elves.
Yeah.
And it's what's really cool is I quite like the fact it goes into like he's also plunders like the elven afterworlds kind of thing, so he was taking dead souls as well as living. But then Mathlan tries to fight Slaanesh, doesn't win.
No,
gets shattered like the rest of them. And so then Slaanesh kind of gorges himself on Mathlan's followers.
He does, yeah. So that kind of then takes us into the Age of Myth.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're familiar with, obviously, the fact of when Tyrion, Teclis, and Malarion, like, kind of like first awaken in the realms, they're searching far and wide for all elf kind, because they can't find any of their kin to begin with.
No.
They didn't find them, but they did find Sigmar, and they kind of joined his pantheon, and, you know, so, you know, helped, obviously, bring civilizations to all the realms.
Make more panthers.
That's what a pantheon is, collection of panthers.
So there literally can be no other meaning. I'm so sure we've done that joke before.
Yes, I'm pretty sure every time I say that word.
I still really like it.
That is not like a fine wine.
No.
So they do end up actually finding like a few small pockets of elves throughout the realms, and they end up inhabiting like Azerheim and stuff in the realm of heavens.
Kind of got vanilla elves.
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. So, but obviously, bearing in mind kind of like how mighty the race of elves and stuff was in the world that was, that's not enough for them. So obviously, like, you know, those three gods, they go out and they keep looking for all of their like elf kin, basically, don't they? And they end up actually like tracking down Slaanesh himself.
Yeah.
Now they find him kind of almost in a gluttonous state, don't they? Like,
it's like you've had a full bucket of KFC.
You have by yourself.
That'd be the worst time for someone to bust in and stick you in a ambulance. There's never a great time, but you'd like to think you could defend. I think the
guys, give me a minute.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest sin against Slaanesh, is that it was in like a state of the belts off, and that's how so far it's been frozen. At least before, it could be like a really cool dynamic. This is just like, it's like being frozen on the toilet. It's not happy. It's not a happy party.
Yeah, so basically he was in his gluttonous state.
Yeah.
And so the elves, the three elf gods, come up with a plan to trap Slaanesh in amber.
Yeah.
But he's trapped between Hysh and Ulgu, the realm of light and shadow.
So you mentioned before kind of like it's something to do with Shadespire.
I mean, it's interesting that they're in the same space.
Yeah, I think there's this like I said to you, I reckon there's just this kind of like time freezing nature that's between the two realms.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's kind of like where. It'd be really cool if he was just in Shadespire, just walking along like, hello.
Yes, sup. Yeah. I like all the mirrors.
No one really goes in there, so it's fine.
It's just because, like, in the video that we saw about the realms and stuff like that on the Malign Portent site, they talk about the etheric void, which is like that thin veil between all of the realms. Yeah. So theoretically, he could have been anywhere. Yeah. He could have been anywhere between all those realms. Yeah. But he's specifically in kind of the same space as to where Nagash has put Shadespire. So it is interesting to see whether or not there's any link there.
Yeah, it's cool.
So he ends up getting trapped in amber, and they come up with an actual plan, which this book doesn't go into, but the Daughters of Cain does go into, that Morathi is actually quite key to. Yeah,
I mean, I actually really... We did want to try and do the episode beforehand, but we thought as this is kind of a bigger release, we'll do this and then do Daughters of Cain later, because I really, really liked the lore in Daughters of Cain.
I thought
it's really good, but I like how the two kind of work side by side. It's great to read both, because it's one of those things where I think we found with like Malign Portents and the Legion of the Gash, there was a lot of big chunks of the book that was basically the same thing.
Definitely, yeah.
But where this, you can kind of read them side by side.
Yeah, they give you two very different perspectives, don't they?
Yeah, and I really like, I think it might be that's the reason why, because I was saying like there's no real mention of Morathi in this, but in the Daughters of Cain book, it's basically written that a lot of trapping Slaanesh was because of Morathi. Yeah. And I wonder if that's the whole, histories written by the victors. Maybe the Daughters of Cain one is skewed to Morathi doing a lot more.
Oh no, 100%. I would definitely agree with that, because obviously these being, spoiler, Teclis's elves. Yeah. Is Teclis really gonna, sing Morathi's praises to his kin? Yeah. Definitely not.
Exactly. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, 100%. So what they did is obviously, when they actually come up with the plan, they agree that they will split the souls between the three of them, and the three of them is Tyrion, Teclis, and Malarion. Yeah. So the first elves' souls to come out are deemed to be the last ones in.
Yeah, because Slaanesh's digestive system is basically just a jar.
Exactly. So
Finish. He made a mistake. Finished with something salty. No wonder he's all right. And guess it's Slaanesh. That makes sense. But should have ended with the sweet elves rather than the salty.
Sweet elves.
Yeah.
What would be the sweet elves?
I don't know. They're all pretty sweet.
Okay, cool. Elves are sweet. Gary Hennessy, 2018.
Basically, that dog is pissing me off so much. To be clear, everyone, this is an extremely hot day, and I've got the windows open. But oh my god,
that yappy dog.
Yeah, but kind of like the elves were the souls were teased out.
Yes,
and the first ones out were basically the followers of Mathlan.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of English people will sympathise with this, but a lot of other people won't. It's really hard for me not to say Matalan, which is quite a large shopping chain in the UK. So occasionally I may call him Matalan.
A far less cool god.
Yeah, I wouldn't worship it either. So Mathlan, that's his followers were the last in, first out.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And they were agreed that Teclis would receive these souls.
Yeah. But they were like, oh, great.
Yeah, God,
help doing so much during the end times.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers.
Yeah. That moron.
Yeah.
So it goes into obviously like Teclis and his teachings at that point, doesn't it?
Yeah. So he refers to them as we're going with Siphi.
Yes. So I think that's the coolest way of saying it.
Yeah. So it's in elf tongue, it's kind of the awakened.
Yep.
And they all the gods. So as you know, Teclis, Malarion, and Tyrion are now the elven gods.
Yep.
So they're not just characters; they are gods.
Yep.
So they kind of wanted to reforge them in their own ways,
how they saw the race to be fit. Yeah.
Yeah, and Teclis really wanted them to be like this bright, knowledgeable race. Yeah. And he basically, I can't pronounce the city. But he takes them to the luminescent city. Thank you for, as you said, I think you texted me when we were writing those. It's like, thank fuck they put that in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no way that I'm bothering pronouncing what it is they're calling it.
And he basically tried to teach them the ways of the old gods.
Yeah,
and it didn't really sit well with the Siphi.
Nope.
And it's kind of they kind of started to begin resenting Teclis and his teachings, and Teclis, it mentioned him having like an inner eye that can see basically into the souls of creatures.
Yes, yeah.
And even the Siphi had like a bit of shadowed soul.
Yeah, that he couldn't even see.
He couldn't see.
Yeah.
And he kind of creates this another kind of bright light that can see further into their souls.
Yeah.
And this kind of basically reacts really badly.
Yeah, because he tries to almost like purify them.
Yeah.
With it's like a purifying light it's described as, isn't it? It's trying to get rid of that darkness.
Yeah, and it just doesn't sit well with them.
Not at all, no.
And they basically run away.
Yeah, so some of them...
see you later.
Yeah, some of them, it says some of them are turned to madness.
Yeah,
And then a lot of them, the vast majority of them, just flee Teclis, because they can't stand within that light anymore, so they just bolt.
Yeah, and Teclis is... he's like, it's quite brutal.
Yeah.
He was just going to he's like, right, this hasn't worked, and he was just going to kill them all.
Yes,
and I was like, that's a bit surprising.
Yeah,
surely you're used to stuff not going your way. Like, I wouldn't end it with... I mean...
Have a plan B for once.
Yeah. But it's actually Tyrion... The basic comes, like, come on, like, just let him go. Nothing wrong.
No, don't commit genocide.
Yeah, exactly. Just leave them as they are. Kind of probably seeing as like we don't have a lot of elf souls.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So kind of pleads for leniency.
Yeah, which is quite weird. I'm not like super up on old world lore and stuff like that, but it is quite interesting that Tyrion is like almost like counselling. Teclis to be less harsh.
Yeah. So I think but so kind of they flee to the seas really of is it Haish?
Yes. Yeah. No, Gairan to begin with.
Is it?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a calling to them because obviously they're the followers of. They've still got this, Mathlan part of them, and so they're
drawn to the seas.
They're drawn to the sea, so that's the first place that they go to.
Yeah. But it also means that kind of they've had a light shone on them and stuff like that. They still know of the torture that they've been through at the hands of Slaanesh. Within, it's maybe a little bit repressed, but it's still there. They can still feel that. So actually being in the sea kind of like subverts them from a lot of their senses.
So it's really cool. It mentions that it's just like the deeper they go into the ocean bed, like the more these feelings and that pushed away.
Yeah, exactly, because more of their senses become
dulled.
Yeah. They can't use them. So, it is interesting. So they flee into the deep. And, it said that there's, they go into, uncharted depths and stuff like that nothing, apart from dangerous sea beasts, have even delved to. Now, it does then, interestingly, mention that they delve deeper than other water-dwelling races. Yeah. And it names two of them as the Merwin and the Kelpdar. Yeah. Now, I don't know if they've ever been mentioned before in Warhammer lore, but I've not heard of them.
I swear the Merwin has. The Kelpdar, I've no idea. No, but the I think it also mentions the Charybdis as well.
It does, as one of the beasts and stuff that are in the deep and stuff. Yeah, so it mentions all of those. So and like we said before, they flee to those depths. Almost like searching for sensory deprivation to escape the horrors and stuff like that. And they use the obviously they didn't. Teclis's teachings went on for years. So they did pick up on kind of the magics and the arcane teachings of Teclis. So they use those abilities to allow themselves to be able to live underwater. Yeah. So whether or not that's putting up barriers, the ability to just kind of almost insert air into water and stuff like that. So there's various ways that they kind of allow themselves to live at these kind of depths, because obviously the pressure's there as well, so there's magic surrounding them to stop the pressures of the water at that depth as well. And it's at this point that they actually start referring to themselves not as the Sithai, but as the Idoneth. And it is a really, really cool explanation to what that meaning is. And it means extreme seclusion or desperate measures in Elvish. Yeah. And that does...
What? Sorry, it's an Elvis.
Yes, I did, yeah. That's what Elvis called them. Yeah. So that is very apt for what they are, and you'll find out later, as opposed to the desperate measures side of things.
And the whole thing as well that we put in, I didn't even really pick up on, but also being attuned to the vibrations of the ocean as a way of sense rather than sight. Because obviously you've got the Namati that don't have eyes, and it's that makes way more sense now. They wouldn't need them. I did not think of that before.
Oh really?
Yeah. Honestly, literally just by reading what you put, I was like, oh yeah, of course.
They sound, vibrations, all of that kind of stuff. They become far more attuned to that side of things. But there's also another thing. Obviously, some of the race that obviously have fled actually descend into a state of raging madness and savage debauchery.
Yeah, so it ends with them. It starts with them fighting people and then ends. It says with savage debauchery.
Yes, exactly. So wow.
Yeah. This dark. The battle tone doesn't really push any punches, does it? It's a really dark race for an order battle tone, which is really cool.
And that's described as Malaki.
Yeah, I thought it was going with Malachi.
Malachi, that's it. There we go.
But who knows?
Who knows exactly?
I'm sure we'll be corrected.
But yeah, I thought that sounded like that. It sounds dark as hell, but still quite cool. Yeah. But then they start discovering more of their flaws and stuff like that, don't they?
Yeah. So it takes. I think it starts happening quite soon after they actually manage to establish their enclaves. Yep. And so you've got kind of they quickly learn with the newborns that they've got diminishing souls. Yeah. So they're not. It's not quite, something's not quite right.
Some of them don't, or most of them don't survive infancy.
Yeah, I think it's one in a 100 are born as an actual elf.
Yes.
So then, and like the rest become basically the Marty.
Well, I mean, not even at this point. At this point, they just find that kind of like, you know, they're not even actually living towards their, you know, living it there. It's not until they discover how to actually get all the souls out and put them into the bodies.
So they go kind of through this this experimentation stage of kind of like doing soul transfusions in a way. And they first try it with like sea creatures. Yeah. And they learn that like kind of there's actually a really cool box out in the book describing like what a soul is.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, that's a really cool way of describing it. So definitely look that up. But yes, they said how they were trying kind of like the priests were trying these soul transfusions with like sea creatures, stuff like that. But their soul was basically too dim to be able to sustain an elf life.
Yeah, so it worked, but nowhere near to the level that they wanted
I think it said like it lasted for days.
Yes,
and that's
exactly,
it.
Yeah.
But they began to learn that mortal souls could actually fuel them for a lot longer.
Yes.
So even though it takes a lot of souls to basically... The conversion system's pretty bad.
I think in there it says there was 6 souls, 6 human souls, or mortal souls, equaled a third of a regular elf life.
There we go, yeah. So it takes quite a lot to fill the tank up.
Yeah, it does.
But it is also describes that it works on races like Duradin and...
Oryx. And even Sylvaneth.
Yeah, Sylvaneth. And then it says even that they do it with other elves.
Yes.
So, which obviously needs it's kind of a better thing, but at the same time it means they're fighting their own race.
Their own race, exactly. But also kind of like, you know, it even actually goes on to say, like when we get into it a little bit further, some of the enclaves prefer going for the elf souls because obviously there's less of those that they need to actually further their own lives.
Yeah. And I quite like as well that it describes it as like the Siphi had it. This was a kind of a desperate measure to do.
Yes,
like it was. They didn't
enjoy it.
Didn't want to do it, and now
it's just life.
It's just normal for the Idoneth. It's just like, oh, this is what we do.
Yeah, there's
like,
nothing
no
weighing
remorse
on their conscience.
Yeah, there's no remorse about it. So I think that's an interesting change in the character of the race.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's really cool.
I also think it's quite cool. So, you know, obviously they're doing raids on all of these kind of like shipping lanes and stuff at the moment. So they're still obviously in the depths of the sea and stuff like that and just raiding these passing ships at this point.
Yeah.
But not only do they actually get souls to fill their current kind of like newborns and stuff like that, they actually start stockpiling them.
Yes, which is it's just like, okay, you've gone really far now.
Yeah.
And it also brings in one of my favourite words in the whole battle tome, which is Corylliums. Because it's like
awesome word.
That's so cool. And we'll go into it a bit later because they're to do with also the Eidolons.
Yes, they are.
Like, to do with those. And that's just like, that is amazing. Like, that's so cool. And it's kind of I know people get on with the whole thinking across the other game systems, but more and more it reminds me of this is kind of like it has good ties to like Iandon of the Elder.
Yes,
where it's kind of like these wraith stones and fueling these things, and it's kind of like the Corylliums are almost kind of this way of storing the souls.
Yeah,
so I just think that's I really like that, and it's like, when we get into the Eidolon as well, that was the closest step to me going, is this too far?
Yeah,
and I was
there
like,
a Wraith Lord?
Yeah, it's like, is this pushing like the high fantasy too far? And I basically sat down, I had a cup of tea, reread it and went, this is amazing. Yeah. It's like, no, I love it. Surprise, shock, shock results. But yeah, so as you said, kind of like their numbers grew and grew, and it became like the harvesting wasn't just to sustain them. No. So they actually began like
to expand
their enclaves and stuff like that. So they added more and more to their stockpiles.
Yeah, exactly. And it's at that point in the Age of Myth where they kind of like start expanding, that they start becoming like a race of folklore. Like, you know, they're not leaving many survivors. They're stealing a lot of people's souls and stuff like that. There's not a lot of people that even remember them, and we'll go into that in a bit.
One of the things that I really liked about that is it kind of echoed to me that really odd thing to really like at school, but I really enjoyed like the beginning of like agriculture. In England,
right?
And it really echoes that in this, of stuff like people first learning like crop rotation.
Okay,
and it's kind of like they won't harvest the same spot too quickly.
Okay, yes.
So it kind of says how generations in, say they attack one village, they'll attack a nearby village when, like, the generation that was in that first village are super old.
Yeah.
So people are like
crazy old men.
it's just like, whatever, fishmen on land.
Yeah,
okay,
funny
cool.
that,
But I thought that was really cool, so they don't harvest the same spot too quickly.
No, so, definitely don't.
Yeah,
no.
that's and that again aids them with this kind of like mythology about them. Of course you'd think it's a crazy thing. It's like, why would that happen?
No, exactly. So it's at one point they kind of, they've delved into the deep. They've been fighting. Part of the reason why their race was dwindling was because they were losing a lot of lives to these beasts in the deep where they were trying to settle. So one of the things they tried to do was actually tame a lot of these beasts. So few were successful to begin with. You had the Octars and stuff, which you see on... I've forgotten his name entirely. Lotan, thank you. You see on him, and the Deep Mares that the High King and Volturnus ride.
I always think the term Deep Mare is like an Idoneth having a bad day.
He's having a deep mare.
Yeah. How's it going, Dave? I am having a right deep mare.
I'm not going to be able to forget that. Right, so what they did is they like I said, they tried to tame far more creatures than just the Octars and the Deep Mares.
The idea of them just going, that's enough.
That'll do. We'll just ride the octopuses. That'll be fine.
So we've got an octopus that can hold a knife. Is his science gone wrong?
So what they do is they create one of the Ishran schools. Ishran is part of the caste system that we'll go through in a minute.
Which is quite a big deal.
Yeah, it is. But it's kind of, so these two sections were hard to get in the right order. Part of the Ishran schools were the Imbalers. And the Imbalers were tasked to tame these creatures, and they discovered a way to kind of magically break them. However, that didn't really work all the time, and it led to loads of losses. It even describes kind of, big creatures that they tried to break just ploughing into mass civilized areas and stuff like that.
It's quite a cool image of it going on.
Yeah, exactly. You can just imagine like the Leviathan just going and just like smashing down through like one of their cities and stuff like that. Kind of
like at the end of the first Hellboy, where like you have all the tentacles smashing into the city and stuff that.
So one of the things they actually end up finding out that helps them out is they blind all of the creatures as well, which again they exactly super nice. People will love it. Justify this by actually saying that they don't need sight at those depths either. So similar to like the Namati that we've mentioned about before, and these beasts and stuff that they're actually trying to break, they're not only incorporated into the war aspect and stuff like, the models that we've seen, the Leviathan, the Alapexes and the eels. There's other ones that are used for like rock boring, bioluminescence, even like power and to fire their underwater forges.
That's really
and stuff.
Cool, I do like that bioluminescence. Just, what is he? It's a light.
And he's alive.
I just imagine like a couple of the Marties settling in to read a book, and they just pull a thing on a pufferfish. And it's like, it kind of echoes a bit of like Flintstones. It's just like where you've got like the bird as the concrete. It's like it's a living. It's like, what have we done?
Amazing. So now they've obviously they've tamed all of these beasts and stuff like that. They've also like out of that, or while this kind of happens, they kind of split off into a very distinct class system. Now, this includes the Namati that we mentioned before, the Isharan, and the Achillean.
Three great names that we do know.
Yes.
It's just like, thank God they made these ones easy enough to pronounce.
So the Namati we've talked about before, haven't we? So they're like the ones that are doomed to that premature life initially, and require...
It's the most numerous of their race as well.
Yeah, and it requires others' souls to kind of power them and give them life.
Yeah.
But even with that, it says that their average lifespan is like 3 to 4 decades.
Yeah.
So it's still not very long when you
No.
consider they've come from an immortal race.
Yeah, yeah.
To living less than like, you know, an average human life that we would know of.
Yeah.
So they're not all of them. So we see that they are, you know, the warriors and stuff that we've seen with the Thralls and the Reavers,
Yeah.
but that's even like a high class of Namati that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Like the average Namati will just be a labourer within like the major cities and, you know, enclaves that, you know, we'll get onto. One of the cool things is obviously the etching on their forehead that you can see. That's on all Namati, and that is actually a sign of half a soul.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite complete.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
Which I think it is a really cool little thing.
Nice. I like the, at some point in the book as well, I'm pretty sure it says the whole, like, the curse kind of thing. There's no way of finding out how it will happen, so, like, 2 Namati could have a child that's not cursed.
That's got a full soul. Yes. Yeah, so it does go through that. So like, similar, like, you know, to Achilleans and stuff like that, or, you know, they're descendant directly from Sithai.
Yeah.
They could have a Namati child.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought that was really cool that there's no, like, way it just happens. It's,
exactly.
Like, odds are that's what you're having as a child,
So then we get on to the Isharan.
Yeah, so they're kind of like they're the most, like, sought in schools of, like, magic.
Yes.
And stuff like that. Basically kind of almost feels like the more, like, politician side.
Yeah, like
the force, in a
less
way.
Fighting, more kind of...
more arts and crafts.
Yeah, sure,
like,
why not,
you've got, like, the...
arts and crafts, sorry.
To turn my user. So it's kind of like there's lots of schools within the Isharan, because obviously they had to adapt quickly when they went under the sea. It wasn't really a thought-out mission.
No, exactly. Run from the light, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of these different roles within that cast as well.
Yes, there is, yeah.
So you've got kind of like one of the ones we see in-game are the Tide Casters. Yep. So this, they know of the magic of the seas and the currents, and I'm pretty sure they're the ones that can bring the ether sea.
Yes,
when we get to that inland.
Yeah, it also describes it kind of like they can move, units of Idoneth within the oceans in like the blink of an eye, way more than you would even be able to conceive on land and stuff. So,
so you've also got the Soul Scryers. Mm-hmm. So these can basically navigate the depths and through the ether sea.
They're those guys with the bioluminescent pufferfish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you've got the soul renders.
Yep.
Which are basically they're the ones that come in and basically collect the souls when mortals have been killed.
Yep.
And collect it up. And then you've got soul wardens, so they're to do with basically preserving it.
Yes.
So any souls collected, they're like the number.
They chuck it in the store.
Yeah. I think Lotan is a soul ward.
Yeah. So normally, like Lotan's one of the the outliers. You don't normally see them in battle.
Yeah, he's only because he's got his Octar with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That he's there. And then you've got I've no idea how to pronounce this, the True Haze, which are kind of the healers.
Yep.
You've got the Embalers, which we mentioned before, kind of to do with like the beast taming.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And then you've got the Quarrelus.
Yeah.
Which craft, basically to do with crafting this living coral.
Yeah, which is it does go on to say like that's how they basically build a lot of their cities.
Yeah, so they're kind of like the architects, almost of the Isharan. So obviously, like the Isharan are a massive part of this race.
Yeah.
And I think also goes into saying like kind of they try as hard as possible to keep the Achilleans and the Isharan equal, in power.
Yeah,
but there's some it's. Most of the time, one is more in power
than the other,
and
but they still have the same kind of say.
Yeah,
within their society.
Yeah, it's just like kind of flips between the two quite often.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that we didn't say as well, like the Isharan and the Achillean, which we'll talk about in a minute, these are the 1 in 100 that are born with the full Sithai souls.
So this is kind of how, even in a super rare anomaly, it's even rarer, because obviously you split that down the line of whether they're going to be part of the Isharan school or the Achillean school.
Yep.
So then we do go on to the Achilleans.
Yes. So, like you said, full Sith Eye soul for those, and these guys are like the warrior elite of their race, and they're also like, you know, bred to be like the lords and the princes and stuff going forward. So they're put through like a rigorous program, which is like Acid Razor.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Why not?
Yeah, we'll never say it again.
No,
so that's
probably
fine.
not. Basically, it's a rigorous program that prepares them for, like, you know, their leadership of their phalanxes and their armies.
Yeah.
They're, you know, given that they do have their full soul and their long life, they actually train for decades before having to pass what's called like a trial of endurance, or meh. Yep, there we go.
How'd your meh go?
It was pretty hard, actually.
He's having a deep mare.
He's having a deep mare on his mare. So the novices and stuff like that pass that trial of endurance first become the crews that you see on the Leviathans and the Alapexes.
Naturally, see, I didn't get I must have just missed it.
Yeah.
But that's really cool.
Yeah,
that there's like a training
progression
system.
Yeah. And then they actually progress to either being kind of, you know, the guy that you see on the back of the Leviathan.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know, somebody that's passed like the initial novice training.
Oh, really? I assumed he was in the Marty because he's got
He's got a face mask on us and stuff,
but
isn't he?
he's got.
It says that they become leaders of like the bigger creatures.
I think he's the guy on front.
Is it? Oh, sorry, that will be him. Not the guy on the back.
Yeah,
no,
the
guy
Void
right,
Drummer's Namati, because he's got his skin's that bluey colour.
Yes, my bad. Yeah.
Also, I think that might be my favourite model ever, is the Void Drummer.
The Void Drummer. I've looked at him so much, I know what he is.
I know, he's so cool.
While
I'm rubbing legs.
While I'm rubbing thighs.
Yeah.
If they possess the skills from that point on, they actually then do become like the Fangmora eel riders and stuff like that. And it's always a goal for all of the Achilleans to be given their own phalanx.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they're good enough there, if they prove themselves, there's never like kind of, you know, you've done this for long enough, you will be promoted beyond this point. You have to go out and prove yourself in battle, leadership wise.
I remember when people were first looking at the book, there is a word that describes that system, but I could not remember it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So basically, it's not just like where the old school of elves, it's bloodline.
Yeah.
The new one, that's nothing to do with it.
Right.
It's like you actually have to prove your worth.
Yeah, you earn it. Yeah. And like Gary said, you know, we go into like the 50-50 split.
Yeah.
And despite the class system, you can still give birth to whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you are or who you are.
No.
There's you know, you're still a very 99% chance that you're having in the Marty.
Yes, yeah,
child.
exactly. So now they've tamed, you know, they've descended into the sea. They've started raiding. They know how to get a soul and bind it to one of their Namati. They've built, you know, I think it's like Priam is like the initial capital city for the Idoneth.
Yeah.
So they've built that. They're underwater, and you know that once they do that, they start kind of factionalizing and going into enclaves, don't they?
Yeah. Before we get into this, it's red hot, and I'm going to get us some drinks.
Sweet.
Right, so the enclaves.
Yes.
It's kind of how the armies are like factionalized.
Yeah, so it kind of describes you know, they obviously all delve away from Teclis kind of like together, but there was like certain factions even at that point that then started breaking up and going their different ways and stuff. So when they first descended into like the seas in Haish, they discovered what was called the Whirlways.
Yeah, which I really like. It's basically underwater realm gates.
Yeah, it's like very simple explanation. Kind of like it just gives them the same ability as everybody else on land, pretty much, doesn't it? Which is cool. And some they do go into actually describing some of them in the book, which is worth a little bit of a read. Probably won't go into that now, but it is worth checking out.
It's just a really nice double page spread.
It is. It's really cool.
The whole, like, once again, the art design around the whole book is just lovely.
Yes, it is definitely. So some of the Idoneth which don't necessarily share the views of the Iron Rack, which are kind of like, you know, the poster boys almost that you actually see the heavy metal scheme.
I find the painting side of the factions quite odd, because it's, I don't know, it feels like, I think when you have stuff like Stormcast, which are like, it's obviously this his hammer's a Sigmar because he's
Yep.
gold and blue.
Yep.
Then you've got Astral Templars. They're like that
Deep red.
burgundy
Yep.
colour. Where this is like it's the colour scheme's kind of a bit less obvious. Kind of thing, if you get what I mean. It's like this because there's not loads of armour across the army.
No.
So it's very much to do with like, the trim on this coat is this colour.
Yeah, there's almost the rather than them being completely distinct colours, they're different like hues.
Yeah, which is kind of like, I think it's just like the first kind of army you've seen that around.
I think so.
I
yeah,
think that's really cool.
There's one or two that I think obviously you got the when we get into it, like the Futhan, which are red.
Yeah,
and you can definitely distinguish them.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like about 3 of them that are just kind of like, they're metals with either a blue, a purple, or a green tint to them, and then like their cloth is a bit different, but the armor.
I'm saying it in a good way. I like it because it kind of makes the whole, if you want to paint your own faction, less of like, some people find it an issue, which makes it less of an issue because then you can just go with whatever you want.
I think nicely enough, I think this is the first book in a while where kind of like the whole kind of like, I don't have to paint my faction like
this colour
to use this rule thing has come
up. I
think
even like rules wise, I know we don't normally get in touch on this side, but even like the bit about painting an enclave, we've now basically just gone, do what you want.
Please just do what you want.
Just don't message us anymore. Paint them how you want.
Which I think is the right way forward and stuff like that. So
I'm risking it. I'm risking some fudge.
Oh god, here we go. So, well, nicely, Gary's quiet for a while. So, I'll go into what the actual Iron Rack are. So, again, we said before that they are like the poster boys. They set up the capital city actually called Priam in Gairan. They're the largest of all the other enclaves, and they kind of like see themselves as the first of their kind. So, kind of closer to the Sithai than anybody else. So they're considered as well like to be the most noble, and they actually won't hesitate to help the other Idoneth enclaves, even though they've decided that your views and stuff like that aren't for us. They will go to their aid without question. They're also described as actually being the closest to achieving Teclis's vision. So even though that they couldn't stand the light themselves, this is the group that kind of like came closest to being what Teclis actually wanted out of the souls that he got out of Slaanesh. So they also suggested what's known as the Assembrals. Now, this is a meeting of all the kings of the different enclaves. So obviously they're, we've said that they're very, they want to be on their own. They want to be left alone by themselves. They want to kind of like go submerge themselves to the deep, basically. The only reason that they come up anywhere near the surface is for souls. So it's obviously very difficult to keep in touch with other enclaves and stuff like that. So the Iron Rack suggested these Assembrals, so kind of like they can call them at any point, and generally somebody an emissary from that enclave is meant to attend. I think it's even described as well, even though they're called a lot of times, one's just they just don't turn up.
Get from all like the invitations that are out, still only like 3 or 4 might turn up. It's like, for fuck's sake.
They're terrible.
They're basically Idoneth are the ones that click maybe on a Facebook event.
Perfect way to describe them. Idoneth, the maybe wankers. The maybes, so they're actually the Soul Scryers, which you described before, which is one of the schools of the Ishiran. They can actually see the souls and how they shine, which is how they guide their enclaves to take the souls at the brightest point and stuff like that, like the most condensed bright lights. They see all the Iron Rack as having the brightest souls.
They're super shiny
souls, and they live the longest as well because of that and stuff. So they're seen as this kind of like noble,
they're definitely the poster boys.
They are, aren't they? And they're actually the only enclave to be led by a living Sithai, which is Volturnus. Who's the High King?
Who's fucking awesome.
Who is an absolute boss. he was like one of the ones that was there right at the beginning. He was under Teclis's light. And he fled, to start the Idoneth and stuff like that, and he's the only one that has survived all of the Malachi, the beasts of the deep, all of the other kind of, the problems with the souls and all that kind of stuff. He's survived all of that up until this point, and he's the only one left. So he's a boss. He's a boss.
He's super cool. Yeah.
And then we move on to, so that's the Iron Rack. They're the poster boys, and then almost not quite the opposite, but not playing ball anywhere near as much.
None of them really play ball, but then we've got Dom Hain, who is who reside in the realm of beasts.
Yep.
So, kind of you'll see a theme where kind of each enclave kind of takes a lot from the realm that they reside in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, as you might expect, Dom Hain they're like the most savage and aggressive and kind of quick to
beasts,
anger.
Isn't it?
Yeah, all about beasts. But so they kind of they train like animals that other ones won't, and stuff like that, and they're kind of like the big hit and run characters. So and they're known for like possessing the best Achilleans.
Yes, and their hit and run tactics are way above everybody else's, and they're renowned for not turning up at these assembles.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So maybe they click decline.
I think out of all of them that click maybe.
At least they're not.
There you go.
That's fair.
So obviously most savage, and also they're described as almost like being primitive.
Yeah,
because they've almost like regressed into that savage behaviour of just.
Yeah, it's a bit unfair, but
fair enough. Big Dom Hain fan.
Yeah.
So you then have Futhan.
Yeah.
Now they're in the realm of Achki, the realm of fire, and it's described that they're actually quick to anger.
Yeah.
And they're seen as impulsive and hot-headed by the other enclaves, and it's seen that obviously again, like Gary said before about like the realms, it's made worse by like the general magic of Achki itself.
Yeah.
They're also described as being the most militant and possessing the most Isharan and Achilleans.
Yeah.
So, far less of a civilized living and more just about basically consistently raiding for souls, even actually when they don't need them, which is quite odd.
Yeah,
so,
they're doing it for the lulz.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they like fighting, so they're going to go and basically claim some souls, but they will actually only withdraw when all their foes are dead.
Yeah.
So not even just when they've taken their souls. They have to kill them, and that actually specifically says, including infants.
Yeah,
because apparently the rest of the Idoneth kind of like see almost like they'll steer away from killing children and infants.
Yeah.
But they won't. They have no remorse for that kind of stuff. They'll just go for it. And it says that they recruit the most dangerous alapexes.
Oh, I think I got that confused with the other one. So ignore what I said before about Dom Hain.
Dom Hain. Yeah. So the Futhan are actually the ones that go for like the super super dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And. Yeah, so like super dangerous eels. I can't remember what they're like red fanged eels and stuff like that, or something like that. So yeah, and all of their anger and like their warmongering has left them to be seen as kind of like untrustworthy from all the other enclaves. So they kind of like give them a wide berth.
Away.
Yeah.
Well, sounds horrible. So then we get on to the coolest of the bunch. So we've got Morfan, which are the ones that reside in Shaiish.
Shockingly enough, the ones closest to death.
Yeah. Weird that it's just cooler, ain't it? Goth for life.
Goth for life.
I know what that means. So these are kind of seen as like the most insular and kind of down themselves.
Gloomy and dour, isn't it? Yeah.
Which makes sense. So, if they're in the Death Seas, kind of like. So, and it's said that their Isharan have the most adept at like reviving souls and bringing the Marty, basically topping them up quickly, getting them back into the fight. And what I really like is how they're more like get into the terror tactics of fighting.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do with like using the ether sea. Like, obviously, that's fucking scary for people on land anyway when this starts happening. And they're apt at more using these kind of their abilities to make it more of like a fearsome thing that this is happening.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's also mentioned that they've got like really pale complexion compared to the other Idoneth, so they
ginger Idoneth.
Yeah. So like, yeah, maybe I don't know. I like these for a couple of reasons. So like they're more adept at kind of camouflage within the
within the mists,
within the mists, which is really cool.
That is cool. So you've then got kind of like you've got two next, which are actually both offshoots of the Iron Rack.
Yeah.
So initially,
Iron Rack really feel like Ultramarines.
Yeah, they do.
Like,
So we've got two successive
Yeah, they've
chapters
got
here.
loads of successive.
So the first one is the Nautilar, and they now reside in Gur, but they only actually reside there because their main capital city is built on the back of the Great Scaphodon.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is just this, basically, from the look of it, a giant sea turtle being thing that they've just built upon on the back of it.
I think if I remember as well, they actually built the city before figuring out it was on, because it's going so slowly that they're like, oh, wait a minute, we've moved for like the last 10 years, we've somehow moved. It's like, oh shit, we've built it on this big turtle.
Exactly. I can't remember where it started, but it didn't start there. I think it started in Gairan.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they've ended up here, and they're like, oh, we're moving, aren't we? That's cool.
That's amazing.
So, and it's interesting because, they didn't split from Iron Rack through having different beliefs or anything like that.
Yeah.
They simply split because they started expanding so much, and where they were on this moving capital city, that's it just felt like that was the right thing to do. Yeah. So they went on their own.
I suppose they can't really do much about it.
No, exactly.
We're wherever the turtle wants to be.
And
I also like scaffoldons. Just sounds like a bit like scaffolding. So it's just like
scaffolding Don.
Yeah, just built around it. It's like, what the fuck's on it?
Which it's interesting as well though, because it does say that they've kind of like formed like a symbiotic relationship with their city.
Yeah, I suppose you have to if you build a house on something.
Yeah. But obviously, so there's that kind of like caring relationship for where they live essentially.
Yeah, I think this is also like this is the ones that wear like the coral as their armor.
Yeah.
So it's real that like Wraith Boney style thing where it's just like they've got such a like say symbiotic relationship that they can craft it way better than the other enclaves.
Yes, definitely. And then the last one, again, another offshoot of Iron Rack, is Bryondar.
Yeah.
Which are in Gairan. And now it doesn't actually go into an awful lot of detail with these, but one cool thing that I did think was worth mentioning was that their Isharan claim that they've discovered secrets that could someday lead to the revitalization of the actual Idoneth race.
Yeah. You know what this race reminds me of? Clickbait. It's not. They don't know a thing. They're just so.
They just want people to go to those assembrables, don't they? That's it. It's just like, we know stuff. Keep coming.
They're so
get your stamps.
Yeah, they're so at the bottom. 4 extra inches in 2 days. It's a clickbait. So it's
love it. Clickbait enclave.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So it does also mention like not by name, but there are like loads of other enclaves through the realms as well, and it says that like in the beginning there's one in particular that they don't really talk about, but that has kind of moved into myth.
Yes.
That it's not destroyed, but it's kind of lost to all the other enclaves.
Yeah. 30th company.
Yeah. So that's kind of like again like recluse even within.
Yes,
the Idoneth.
Yeah, definitely, and it goes on to say as well that there are so many various little kind of like even like the Morphan and stuff like that have smaller kind of like break off factions and stuff for them as well. So there's some like super small ones and stuff like that, but there's some that one actually even says that it can rival the largest known enclaves.
Nice.
So and some are even considered myths to the Idoneth themselves. Yeah. So myth to a myth.
Yeah.
That's secret. That's next level secret.
That's trying to be too cool.
It is.
It's quite simple. So a lot of you'll see a lot to do. Obviously, you've got a lot of floating animals, sea creatures within the like on the tabletop within the army.
Yep.
And that's all based around this thing called the Ether.
Yeah.
So this is like the essential magic that the Isharan control to basically allow them to bring these creatures
inland.
So it feels like it feels to like a normal. I think it's described as like a normal human being, like they can like start to smell kind of like sea air.
Yeah, it's like those that are like really attuned to like noticing their surroundings. They can pick up on kind of like the salt in the air.
Yeah,
almost like this dull sound of crashing waves.
Yeah.
And there's like this kind of like this fog or mist starts to kind of like you just rise around them. And it is like, so like the Ether Sea and stuff like that only came like after the Isharan kind of got, you know, the Tidecasters got better at their magic. So initially they're raiding like, you know, trade routes of ships. They could even get inland obviously with all the, you know, with the tide and stuff like that through rivers and stuff like that. But this allows them to go literally to landlocked places and stuff like that.
So basically nowhere safe.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So so like those signs kind of like come up, and then you could also then end up seeing kind of like fish kind of like swim through the air, like, you know, shoals of fish are just like darting past you out of absolutely nowhere. Coral then starts like growing out of the ground and stuff like that as well. But all of this is pretty much just a big distraction. Yeah. So you know, the guards, the city people, wherever they're trying to collect the souls from, they start becoming almost like entranced by all of this stuff that, you know, they don't normally see it. There's like shipwrecks everywhere. There's like big skeletons and
you
stuff.
get like kind of where you get the gloom tides from it. This is part of the Ether Sea. Like these just like, they're not there. They just appear on land. Like you say, it's a distraction for people that are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, it describes, you know, that you know, certain warriors will put down their weapons to go and like, you know, try to touch one of these kind of like ether beings and stuff like that. Find that their hand gets cut off, and you know, they're then even more distracted by that. And at that point,
that is a distraction.
A little bit of a distraction, isn't it? Where's my bloody hand gone?
Yeah.
And it's at that point that the Idoneth then actually start to strike.
Yeah. So you've kind of got this almost like multi-waves. Yeah.
Wonder what they've done there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's over-egging the pudding about this kind of goes over it in the book. I mean, I'm on board with it, but geez.
Genuinely need a word count for the amount of times you see the word wave. Yeah. I think through this book, that would be great. Yeah.
So you've got the first wave is... so you've got the Marty, so you've got the Thralls and the Reavers. Yeah. That come in and basically lay down the first level of attack.
Yeah, so they're described as like skirmishing, you know, firing off volleys and stuff like that. Yeah, just like skirting around the edges and stuff.
Also, it's kind of like, you know, they're the foot troops. They're the most numerous.
Yep.
Least important, really.
Yep.
So they're going to take the brunt of any attack that is going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they get backed up then by the Achilleans.
Yes.
So obviously, they're more trained and able to, you know, once the main. The Marty soaked up the punch. They can come in and do what they need to do.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, so once kind of like, you know, the Achilleans and stuff are in, is at this stage where you see like the soul scryers and stuff begin to harvest all of the souls and stuff like that. And so, you know, that all of that's going on, you know, they're fighting, they're getting all their souls. And then finally they summon the Eidolon. Now, I've not really talked about the Eidolon just yet, but we'll get to that in a minute because it is an absolute beast.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And the way that it is summoned is pretty damn cool as well. So kind of like, so the Eidolon comes along as almost like the crescendo, you know, and then much like the sea, again, kind of like there's this ebb tide. And during, so, you know, they start to retreat and stuff like that. They've got what they wanted. They're now retreating away. And in, like, the small counterattacks are still being launched, though. So the Namarti and stuff like that are still
protecting the retreat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like they're still launching, like, you know, firing parting shots off, launching small counterattacks, like cool little bits and pieces like that.
Yeah.
And it's not like the attacks are described rather than kind of like bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
That they're that really precise and really skillful, so they're keeping that
they're like
elf
a scalpel.
Yeah, exactly. They're keeping that kind of like elf precision around them. You know what I mean? They're not just like blunt force.
No.
And you know their purpose is really just to gather souls. The vast majority of the time. There was one story in the timeline in the book that said about them doing a raid on a Dwarden stronghold. And they found no one was left alive. but not a single gemstone or coin was touched.
Yes, so they've got no need for it.
No.
None of their races around any
souls are their only currency.
Yeah, exactly. Like gold is no use to them whatsoever.
No,
Like
exactly.
even their weapons and that aren't built from normal metals or anything like that.
No, definitely not.
And so I like the way it's also a lot that's described as the souls, the bodies from which souls have been taken, people find just like floating.
Yes.
It said they'll be like drenched in seawater and just floating in midair. And that was obviously a lot of the stuff during Malign Portents. There were villagers that were left like that, and you obviously think, oh, it's something spooky.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, it's not. It's fishmen.
Fishmen, exactly. And also kind of like, when we did our Legion of Nagash review, where there was this Nagash noticed a disturbance where all the souls were going and all this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that disturbance that Arcan couldn't find where it was is this.
Absolutely, it's got to be.
So the people that have their souls taken from them, like you said, they almost they're like this eternal sleep.
Yeah.
Not an internal sleep, that'd be a bit weird. But so they then kind of like just wither away and die after a short period of time, pretty much. But in order to keep their race secret, that's like we touched on before, generationally they dot around everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't target the same place twice, which is a cool added.
Yeah,
it
is a real clever bit of lore to add to it because it makes loads more sense.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you've got the Eidolon and the Isharan that possess what's described as these obliviating energies of tide. And now what that does is that basically wipes the mind of anybody that they haven't taken the soul of or killed.
Yeah. They basically get a Winter Soldier.
They do, yes, they do, yeah. Yes, you've been Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So they completely wipe the mind again because they're worried about people finding out about them. They want few people to realise their race even exists.
Yeah.
And the few are able to avoid this, so they're not dead. Their souls weren't taken. They weren't found to, they weren't found to be left alive, but mind wiped. They're the ones that are deemed to be totally batshit crazy.
Yeah, because you wouldn't you? It's like no one would believe it. That's the thing. Even in the realms, it's like no one knows of this what he's talking about, which is super cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is really really cool. Obviously, I'm sure everybody knows now, but it's just a really really cool image of the tide just coming in, them just absolutely smashing what they need, and then retreating with the tide and it's also taking the memories with them.
Yeah, it's also described as a very quick thing.
Yes.
So there's no evidence of them because they're in out and that's it.
Done.
That's it. Then done.
But we did mention the Eidolon being the big, the big dude, the final wave almost and stuff like that. So
I think just thinking from a models aspect, it's actually my favourite model.
It's amazing
from anything. That I just think it's just so
favourite model ever.
Yeah, 100%. The aspect of the storm. But the fighty dude, is just there's so particularly when you start actually painting it.
Yeah,
there's so many elements that you look at and go, this is just so cool.
Yeah.
Just looking at it in the flesh, and it's just a mix of amazing, obviously, sculpting. And it's the engineering is
magic,
just
isn't
insane.
It? Yeah.
It's just how does this work?
It's crazy. I mean, going back to the video and stuff that we did, I'm pretty sure that I spent probably a good 60% of my time just basically mouth to the floor over that cloak.
Yeah. It's
something else.
Yeah, and it's given its due fame in the book as well.
Yeah.
So we talked earlier about the what are they called, the Corelliums.
Corelliums.
And that's kind of
Corellium?
Corellium, that's
there we
it. Go. So that's where kind of the souls are also stored from, past Idoneth.
Yes.
So that's where it's almost like
so if they die naturally, their souls are also stored there.
Ancestral trail. That's where they go to talk to their ancestors.
Yes, but they also still store the souls and stuff that they've stolen there as well, don't they? So
I assume different parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Reserved parking.
Yeah.
But so during big times of war and raiding, they are each part kind of there's an Eidolon's made up of thousands and thousands of Idoneth souls.
Yes.
So it kind of forms up into this avatar, and it's like it talks about how they're still elves, so they still have this ancestral tag to them, whether they like it or not.
Yep.
So that's why they think it's kind of formed into the form of Mathlan.
Yeah. So kind of like, it does say that it can take any form.
Yeah.
So these parts of souls that are released by the Ishran from the Corellium, they could form anything.
Yeah.
Literally absolutely anything that they wanted to. But because they have those ties to Mathlan, it's almost like this subconscious thing, isn't it? That
it's just in their DNA.
Yeah, it just forms into this elf-like god creature that is the aspect of Mathlan.
Yeah, and so you've got these two different aspects that he can, depending base. Is also described a bit of it. It's almost like potluck. Which one you're going to get? Like of the two. So it's kind of what they need most at the time.
Yes,
So you've either got the aspect of the storm. So obviously the most aggressive.
Yes.
And all to do with smashing shit up, basically.
Yes,
pure kind of rage of the ancestors.
Yeah, it also kind of describes it as kind of, it doesn't even know how rageful it is itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just rage. It's the rage of the sea incarnate, isn't it? Yeah.
And then you've got the aspect of the sea.
Yep.
So that's the more, the
It's Mork.
It's much more. So you've got more of the helping, supporting kind of aspect of the god, like less aggressive but more used to protect the Idoneth that are going to war.
Yeah, so it seems to get more involved in actually, like, the repossession of the souls and stuff like that, and it's just that, it's again kind of like going back to, it's less blunt force, more scalpel with what it does. It's still a brutal fighter if it needs to be, but it can kind of like do other things and stuff you see in the game. Obviously it casts spells and stuff like that a little bit more. It also heals. It says that it heals other Idoneth and stuff around it and stuff like that. Gives souls back to Nemati that might have fallen in battle and stuff like that.
I just think it's such a cool piece of background. That it's just really deserved its mention.
It's awesome, isn't it? Yeah.
Super cool. Like the whole Corellium thing, I can see being a bit too much for some people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's.
I love it.
100%. But that's real pushing those barriers, and I really like it.
I think if you're not in on, kind of like reforged lightning men, then a Corellium shouldn't be that much more of a stretch, should it?
No, I think maybe it's just because obviously you'll still. I think maybe it was taken a bit of a, people were unsure about the whole sea creatures on land aspect of the army. But the more you really delve into the book and to the lore, the more that it's like, it's not a thing. It's just like, this is really cool.
It is cool.
I think it's more difficult for people who do not read like the background stuff and just go like, there's just
why are they flying like turtles?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but still, I'd hope most people would just go that.
Yeah, exactly.
But so hopefully, maybe it's turned around. This episode will turn around a few opinions on that as well.
But let us know what you think about it and stuff like that. Do you think the ETC is cool? Would you like to see something different? If you'd like to see something different, what would it have been?
Yeah. It's just cool.
It is just cool. So obviously, all of that is the Age of Myth.
Yeah, so this is before Age of Chaos, which is before Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
So, I mean, the big chunk of them is to do with that. There's not much between. They kind of rinse repeat.
Yes,
between,
they do.
Like in Age of Chaos and in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, so there's a lot of raiding and stuff like that that's still going on. That's pretty constant. Obviously, you've got like the different enclaves and stuff like that. Like Futhan are raiding constantly, no matter what. So that's all going on. But during the Age of Chaos, obviously Slaanesh, or the followers of Slaanesh, are far more resurgent than they have been during the Age of Myth. And they actually end up stumbling across a Idoneth raid. And the raid is the Seekers of Slaanesh are actually led by a Keeper of Secrets called Slish.
Sleesh.
So they follow those Idoneth, and they actually end up ambushing them.
Yeah.
And now they're on the brink of defeating the Idoneth until they summon their Eidolon.
Yeah.
And the Eidolon then banishes the Keeper of Secrets back to the realm of chaos.
Yeah, so but yeah, it's going against them, and then the Eidolon basically goes, nah.
Nope, not having that.
I'm taking over this.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, so that happens. We don't really see anything more from Slaanesh in the Age of Chaos at that point, but it does go on to mention about kind of like Futhan actually raiding Daughters of Cain settlements.
Yeah, because obviously, like we mentioned earlier, if an elf soul, you only need one.
Yeah, you only need one.
Yeah.
There can only be one.
Yeah, so it's you know, they attack kind of because it's at the same time Marathi's been forging the souls that she wants.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this is the same, and they're like, oh wait a minute, there's more.
Yeah, there's more souls here.
Slash up these elves. Yeah.
But it does actually. It specifically states, and it'll be interesting to see like what anything specifically comes of this.
Yeah.
But the Daughters of Cain have sworn revenge on the entire Idoneth race, not just Futhan as an enclave.
Yeah, because it's the first time that they're actually mentioned in a story, as in a timeline in the Daughters of Cain book, where it mentions, like, I think it was the ones that are all in red. I can't remember.
Yes, Futhan.
No.
The daughters
the
ones.
temple.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I don't know.
No, I can't remember. But like, they're the ones that basically went, nope, I'm going to smash you up instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And then there's a story about Bryomdar and the Sylvaneth, which kind of make you question it kind of reinforces maybe this grey area that the Idoneth sit in.
Yeah, they're not good, they're not bad.
Yeah, so it says that, the Bryomdar as an enclave, they actively attack Chaos forces around this Sylvaneth province.
Yeah.
In order to just prevent the Sylvaneth from being wiped out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of described as more of a preference as opposed to an alliance, because they might not have the same goals in the end, but one of the things they do share is a hatred of chaos.
Yeah, it makes me think of like a farmer protecting his chickens from foxes.
Yeah,
it's kind of no, we need these guys about. Like, we're not taking anything from you, definitely. So we're going to protect them.
Yeah, no, that's a great comparison.
Yeah. So then we go into Age of Sigmar. So we've got the appearance of like the Gaunt summoners for Archaon.
Yep.
Which are like, as they do, they get their fingers in all the pies.
Yep.
So they're pulling these strands of information, and it keeps on coming back to this like mysterious thing, and they actually discover that there's the Schlish. Schlish I was having a bet.
Oh god.
That it knows a lot of information.
Yes.
So they manage to summon it. Yep. So Archaon manages to summon it. And what I really like there is one of my favourite lines is in the book. It says that the Keeper of Secrets does not live up to his name. And it's like,
I didn't remember that.
It's like, under Archaon's interrogation, the Keeper of Secrets did not live up to its name. It's like, that is such an amazing line. It's so cool. So they actually managed to find out from this Keeper about the Idoneth.
Yes.
And so Archaon obviously goes, right, I'll send something shit in first, Skaven.
Yep.
Send that in. So they actually start, and there's some really cool description of the Skaven submersibles.
Yes,
which are weird, like plague things and stuff
they're odd,
like
aren't
that
they?
They just fill with rats and send down there, and they
rat
attack,
bombs.
Yeah, they attack Morfan.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So obviously Morfan is then besieged.
Yeah.
By the Skaven, and the Iron Rack actually call for an assembral to aid them, because it's actually described that Morfan just would not ask for this themselves.
Yeah.
So the Iron Rack do it on their behalf, but the move is blocked by Futhan. It doesn't really go into say any reason why in particular.
Yeah.
But civil war threatens to break out between the Idoneth at that point. So there is.
Can't wait for Idoneth Infinity Wars.
Yeah. Going to get the Infinity Gauntlet right now. Yeah. So
Infinity Gauntlet.
No, that'd be awful.
Come back.
So Decomitrak.
Eel-finity Gauntlet. Boom!
Eel-finity Gauntlet.
There we go. I knew I could have. What are we talking about?
Awful. Well, we got an episode title out of it.
Yeah. I'm good for some.
So Decomatrack is called, and now that's a cool name to basically almost like have a duel between the High Kings of each of those enclaves. Yes. We need to take these sweets away from you.
Not had any lunch. No. I'm just going on sugar. It's alright, we're at the end of the notes.
So it was like basically what it is it's a High King on High King fight to stop bloodshed.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually say who won, but as Volturnus is the High King of the Iron Rack, and he's not dead, I'm going to take a guess and say that he won.
Yeah.
And then it actually then goes on to describe a little bit of an uneasy alliance. Dom Hain encounter the Stormcast for the first time. They actually discover that they can't sever the souls of the Stormcast. Yeah,
that's well funny. I might as well fight with you.
And that's exactly what they do. They're literally like, can't take them. Yeah, we'll fight with you. Why not?
It's like, because the other thing as well is obviously they're both like Stormcast very much fighting chaos all the time.
Yeah.
So like, well, we can't take your souls, and you're fighting the same people that we fight, so why not?
Exactly. I
think that's really cool.
And then kind of, it's almost like there's a lot now that they've been discovered by Chaos. So Chaos kind of like, Archaon and his Gaunt Summoners know where they are.
Yeah.
They're besieged by Skaven at this point. The Stormcast Eternals know of their whereabouts.
Yeah.
They're pretty much they're far more out in the open than they ever have been before.
Yeah. It's a strange new world.
It is, new life and new civilizations.
Yeah.
So now that with the races more aware of their existence, Tzeentch decides to tamper with the Whirlways. And what's really cool is almost like it says like he inverts them.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they become like whirlpools into like the realm of chaos.
I mean, it's as well that like basically loads of horrors come like flying out of them as well. I just don't like the idea of like swimming horrors. That's horrible. Like, weird anyway. That's really horrible.
And one of the cool things as well is actually says that Volturnus seeks out Alariel.
Yeah.
Now, Alariel knew of the Idoneth for a long time. There's one story in the Age of Myth where the Idoneth struck against one of the Sylvaneth outposts, and Alariel came to their aid, and obviously they couldn't wipe her memory or anything like that. And it's actually said that she killed one of the High Queens. I think it was of Dom Hain, and she has apparently still got one of the blades. Which is like a cool backstory that they can kind of like pull a thread on at some point.
That's really cool.
But so then the Stormcast kind of ask for a little bit of aid, don't they?
Yeah, and it's again they have one of these assembrals, whatever.
It's like an assembly, but a ball,
but also an ensemble.
Ensemble.
And they surprisingly enough vote against it.
Yeah, shocker. That, isn't it?
That's weird. But I mean, it also what I really like is this another part of this story ekes into the actual rules in the game. Where like Iron Rack can ally with people.
Yes.
They're the ones that are constantly like going, let's help. And it's so they actually can work with other other forces and stuff like that. That's super cool. And then we have Nautila's city basically being raided by Skaven.
So they goes with like underwater drills. And stuff
so like kind
this,
of how they can Skaven can kind of like tunnel through realms. They do the same thing basically into the city, and it describes how like mass areas in the city are just like corrupted by like Skaven and stuff like that. So they've got this real and again this is where it goes I think it's actually this bit where they go through the description of kind of like the crazy things the Skaven use to kind of attack them and stuff like that, which is awesome.
With like underwater siege equipment and stuff like that. It is quite odd. It's very Skaven-y.
And then we've got Volturnus appears in the story again. Where basically this describes about his missing eye. Where sets up a meeting with Morathi. but it's not. It's actually the mask of Slaanesh. But he survives, but she takes his eye.
Yeah.
Basically, and that's like why he's got a badass eye patch.
Eye patch. Why he's an underwater elf pirate.
Yeah, which is super cool. So you've got then kind of like new cities set up by the Few-Fan. I always try and keep...
it's more a case of like, so the new cities and stuff like that are built during the Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
So like, like the summer campaign and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they're all set up, because there's obviously a large body of, souls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's new trade routes set up at this point. The Few-Fan are the one enclave that can't resist going to these new cities and trade routes and just raiding the hell out of them.
Yeah.
So again, they're the ones kind of like almost like bringing their race inadvertently into the spotlight that they don't want to be part of, by raiding too much in the same places.
Yeah. Then you've got the Skaven again. They start to drain the Keptar Sea.
Yep.
In Shyish, and then that means that they're revealed to Nagash.
Yep.
So we can actually see them. And then obviously
last of the party.
Yeah, and then obviously Nagash being Nagash, he's like, right, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I need to.
They're all mine now.
They're all mine. Yeah. And we've also got Marathi.
Yep.
So she starts, goes through a lot of the Daughters of Cain book where
it does.
I think it's probably the biggest bit that Goat is like combines with the story is the fact that when Slaanesh is put in this encased in between Haish and Olgi, she works her own...
Algi?
Olgi?
Olgu.
Oh, is it Olgu?
Sounded like Aldi.
Oh, no, it's not Aldi. But she works her own extra bit of magic into it, which means he's actually pulled a bit more towards the realm of shadows. So when they siphon souls, she actually gets a larger portion than anyone else. But because of that, because he's not dead center, Slaanesh followers start to get
closer.
Yeah, it means in the realm of shadow, the scent's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So that's why they start to get like more and more daring.
Yes.
And so they're like, actually, we know our gods in this realm somewhere. Which I think's really cool. Like her greed kind of means that
could be the downfall.
Yeah, exactly. It could, and we might see more Slaanesh stuff. Who knows?
And then on the back of that, the Iron Rack then call another one of their assemblers to almost like have another vote on joining the Alliance of Order, to fight off chaos. And as uneasy as this is, more of the enclaves actually vote to join.
Yeah.
This, so you're seeing like a slow progression into kind of like them actually being part of the wider battle. Yeah. And there's a cool bit here as well about like Nagash's great spell. And basically it puts a huge strain on the Idoneth. I forget what it's called in the book, but it's almost like this like undead earthquake, which then kind of like like ripples out.
Yeah. Keep talking.
You know what I'm about?
Necroquake.
That's it. Necroquake.
I remember it because it sounded super cool. Yeah, it's the Necrocake.
Necrocake. Undead cake.
Undead. Yeah. Necroquake.
So that's his great spell, and what that does is that now means that all of the Idoneth cities are being besieged by the undead.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not too bothered about breathing.
No, they do not care. It's like, that's fine. Which is really cool, like, those two clashing.
Yes.
Like, that makes it really cool, because it's like, they don't care. He just keeps dropping skeletons in the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Or they just keep, like, raiding foot. Like, but the problem is, obviously, they're fighting them. It's like, where are they going to get their souls from? Yeah. Like, it's an empty fight for them, isn't it? So that's an interesting one. But yeah, that kind of brings us pretty much up to date.
Yeah,
so
I think that's everything. Yeah, I mean, even though we've obviously handled, like, the things we consider, like, the main chunks, there's still so much in there.
There's loads
for you to go through. Like I said, if we covered everything, then it would be like it would be a 6-7 hour show. So really, it's well worth reading back through, and you'll probably find something that you really like that we haven't mentioned.
Exactly. There's loads of little threads and stuff like that. That we're used to seeing that GW put into all their battle tomes now that they can pull on at any point and stuff. So
and it is one of the cool things about doing shows like these to cover it, because even we hadn't delved that deep into it, and then to write now I'm doing it, and so it kind of almost forces our hand to read through everything.
Yeah.
And it's really good because it's like, oh, you really get that. I'm not sure about you, Anne, but after reading it, now I'm way more stoked to get like an army done. And it's also helped with kind of theming that army.
Like, definitely, yeah. So reading about kind of like the enclaves and stuff and how they work, like I'm pretty sure I've decided to do like the Domhain, like the more savage ones. Yeah. My one problem is I want Volturnus in my army, so that's like I probably won't be able to theme it around Domhain. I'll probably have to have just a regular Achillean King in there and stuff like that, just because like why would Volturnus be there? Although he is Iron Rack, so he would work with them, but they wouldn't be too happy about it.
He's in my army.
But no, there's loads of things to allow you to theme your army and stuff like that.
To be fair, actually, most of my scheme from what I've been working through is actually the Iron Rack one, but with I've basically changed the armor from like a Coolio green shade.
Coolio green shade,
just like changing that from that shade of armor to the more burnished bronze.
Yes,
kind of look. So it's it's basically could still be Iron Rack.
How you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's true though. Yeah, it's exactly that. So it's I'm really I'm at the stage now that I always hate with armies anyway, which is building models. Like,
I know what you mean.
I'm happy with painting. I'm happy with that. I just don't want to fucking do it. So
you got 20 more thralls and stuff to do.
Yeah, I have, and I still haven't even built a Reaver yet. So. Let's see. Doing my best to leave like the cool stuff. I mean, it's all cool, obviously, but like the more dynamic stuff to the end.
Yeah.
But, here we go. Oh well. First world problems.
Exactly, it is, isn't it? Yeah. So many things to do, but we haven't got the. Obviously, we've had like we're really lucky to get the eels sent early and stuff like that. But I can't wait to get my hands on like a good bucket of those eels and stuff like that to actually get going with them and the Leviathan.
The bucket of eels.
It's
I think I'm gonna have I basically want 2 units of 6 of them.
I think I do as well.
It's pretty cool. And again, like going on to rules wise, it's genuinely really hard for me to write an army list.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just want everything, but it's like you just can't.
I can't. Like, I really am struggling to write a list that I like that fits a Leviathan in.
Yeah.
But I really want one.
Yeah.
I really want one in there.
I think it was Tom in our group chat that basically said, I think most lists either you have an Eidolon or you have the Leviathan.
Yeah.
And it's the more I write lists, the more it's like that's probably true. So they're two of the big point sinks.
They are, yeah.
So both good in their own ways.
Yep, yeah, I agree. It's struggling to leave out one of those models though, because I just love both of the models.
I almost think that's probably why I've gone more with the Eidolon.
Yeah,
because I just love the model so much. I mean, I think I'm still going to get a Leviathan.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm not. But I also have literally no idea how to paint it.
No.
Like, neither of the schemes really catch me.
Okay.
Like, obviously both gorgeous, but it's just like, I just don't know. I don't know what...
I think because it's a reptile, I just think you can go a billion different ways with it. But
that's the problem. Great. That's the problem for me. So, it's like you could do anything. But it's doing it, and like obviously the scheme of the heavy metal team is keeping it like very natural, and then using colours that appear in nature and stuff like that.
Because there's the one that is like kind of like green and brown, isn't it? Which is like super earthy tones and stuff like that. I mean, there's the one that we saw, which is almost like bright orange and stuff like that. So.
So there's lots of natural tones in there, but like I kind of want to keep it more cohesive. To the rest of the scheme.
So gold.
Massive gold. Like no differentiating scales on the shell. Just flying on this massive bling turtle.
Why not?
But fuck it, I've got a flying turtle.
Call my bluff.
Yeah. Because of like, I'm kind of half tempted because of like the way, like the Shaiish thing of having it as like an ethereal turtle.
Yeah.
But I'll see how it works. But
that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's just something a bit different. As well. But I fucking love ghosts.
Really like ghosts.
Really like goats.
Ghost bros.
So this is madness. So let's end it. So Andy, if people want to get in contact with us, how would they go about doing that?
So you can find us on Twitter at AgeofSigBrah.
Probably the optimum place. No, not
I
probably.
would start there.
It's the optimum place to get hold of us.
Yeah, I would definitely start there. But you could also find us on Instagram at AgeofSigBrah as well. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/AgeofSigBrah. And we do have an email address if you'd like to drop us an email. That's AgeofSigBrah@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll try our hardest to get back to them. It's just, we just forget, basically.
Yep.
We're humans and we forget
definitely,
stuff.
Yeah. But, is it worth mentioning kind of like that potentially we won't really be keeping too much of a regular schedule?
Yeah, let's get into that now.
While?
It probably makes sense. So yeah, basically the
life.
Yeah, kind of me having a child soon.
Yep.
We're kind of preparing the beds for that. So we're gonna, as much as we really, in the early days, we really, and still do think, like, a routine, a schedule's an important thing. It just becomes less and less of a thing we can actually do while keeping, like, your life together.
Yeah.
So obviously having a child, there's going to be much less chance of me being able to actually sit down with Andy and record as often as we well,
unless you're like a child screaming in the background of most of your podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a fucking dog and an ice cream van, so it's probably not that much weirder. But yeah, so we're kind of creating this website that has an inbuilt blog.
Yep.
Because it'll be much easier for me to be able to actually
blog content
and stuff like that. Hopefully as well, I'm thinking of trying to maybe set up our YouTube, like doing a few videos on that, because that's a bit, because it doesn't need both of us together at the same time.
It doesn't.
Time willing, we'll still be releasing podcasts.
Oh, definitely.
It just won't be as scheduled as we like.
Exactly.
It won't be as regular. We'll definitely still be doing them, but it just won't be like as tight as it has been previously.
Yeah. So we're working on that at the moment. To get that all up and running. And basically, when we actually do have a little bit more information and stuff like that, potentially next podcast and stuff, we'll run you through exactly kind of like what our plans are with it and stuff like that, what we plan to post, what kind of content we're looking for. But yeah, so just kind of like maybe gives us more of a diverse range of content that we can kind of like do around our lives with like new jobs, moving, babies, all of that type of stuff.
Exactly.
We've got going
new job, moving, babies, and the worst.
That sounds like a really awful job.
Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, we're just trying to fill it round basically so our life doesn't suffer too.
Exactly.
So again, hopefully they'll will still support us and stuff like that. So we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah,
I just thought it'd be a good time to bring it up and prepare people for a bit of a change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so still going to try to keep as regular as possible, but other things are going to take precedence from now on.
Yeah, and it also the whole thing with the blog as well is that where it's not possible to do that, you'll still get some content. Get content, basically. Yeah, so I think that's everything.
Yeah.
So until next time, bye! So now we come up with obviously the best of the bunch. So you've got Morphan, which are the... Hold on, just wait for this massively noisy car to go by.
Amazing.
I mean, really?
Amazing.
That'll be a nice outtake.
It's a long outtake.